Hey guys, how you doing today? I wanted to come to you with a quick red letter leadership video from a verse that I read a couple days ago, actually, in our Bible reading plan. And it's from the book of Luke, chapter 18, and it talks about the parable of the Pharisee and the tax collector. And it's this contrast between the Pharisee who gets up and prays this professional prayer, looking good in front of everybody else and bragging about his actions, and then the tax collector who comes humbly before God and talks about his sin. And so it says in verse 13, "But the tax collector stood at a distance and dared not even lift his eyes to heaven, but he prayed as he prayed. Instead, he beat his chest in sorrow, saying, 'O God, be merciful to me, for I am a sinner.' I tell you, this sinner, not the Pharisee, returned home justified before God. For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted." Man, Jesus was the most amazing leader that ever lived. And as he's talking to his disciples, in this parable, he wants to contrast that it's not about looking good before people. This Pharisee probably looked really impressive as he come and prayed and built himself up. But our goal is not to build ourselves up before people. Our goal is to come humbly. And as they observed these two praying, they probably wanted to be more like the Pharisee than the tax collector. But Jesus contrasted and said, you know what? God heard one of their prayers and not the other. I tell you, the sinner, not the Pharisee, returned home justified. See, God doesn't want you to try to look good in front of people. He wants you to humble yourself before him. And so he gives us this principle. Those that exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. Jesus was the greatest leader, and he humbled himself and became obedient to death, even death on a cross. So Jesus walked with humility. He humbled himself to do what we couldn't do for ourselves. In our world is really big on lifting yourself up, elevating yourself. But the word of God warns us against that. I love Proverbs chapter 27, which goes right with what Jesus said. It says in 27:2, "Let someone else praise you, not your own mouth, a stranger, not your own lips." So that's just what Jesus said as well. And so let somebody else exalt you and not yourself. Don't brag about your great accomplishments. Humble yourself and be a gracious servant to the King of Kings. Never think you're bigger than you are, but always be grateful for how big he is. God bless you guys, and thanks for listening to another Red Letter Leadership.